Before we dive into this forbidden knowledge that has been systematically suppressed for centuries, I need to know something. What time is it where you are right now? And where exactly are you watching from? I'm asking because the time and place you're experiencing this revelation isn't a coincidence. Your consciousness has been drawn to this information at this precise moment for a reason that will become crystal clear as we uncover these ancient secrets together. You see, every single night when you close your eyes and drift into what you call sleep, you think you're simply resting your body and letting your mind wander into random dreams. But what if I told you that's the biggest lie you've ever been told? What if I told you that sleep isn't rest at all, but rather the most profound spiritual journey your soul takes every single night? A journey so powerful, so transformative, so absolutely revolutionary that entire civilizations have been built around suppressing this knowledge from reaching the masses. They've convinced you that dreams are just meaningless neural firing, random electrical impulses with no significance. But the truth is that every time you fall asleep, you're actually engaging in the most ancient and sacred practice known to humanity: astral projection. And here's what they don't want you to know. This isn't some new age fantasy or wishful thinking. This is documented, verified, scientifically observable fact that has been deliberately hidden from you, because once you understand what's really happening during your sleep cycles, once you realize the incredible power you possess to transcend physical reality and explore infinite dimensions of consciousness, you become impossible to control, impossible to limit, impossible to keep trapped in. Their carefully constructed prison of materialistic thinking. The ancient Egyptians knew this secret so well that their entire civilization was built around it. They called it traveling in the boat of Ra. And their priests spent decades mastering techniques that would allow them to consciously navigate these astral realms while maintaining full awareness and control. The Tibetan monks have preserved this knowledge for over 3,000 years through their practice of dream yoga, where advanced practitioners can literally transform their consciousness at will, visiting past lives, communicating with deceased loved ones, accessing the Akashic records, and even influencing physical reality from the astral plane. But here's where it gets absolutely mind-blowing. The Roman Catholic Church, during the early centuries of Christianity, systematically destroyed every single text, every temple, every mystery school that taught these practices because they knew that if people understood their true spiritual nature, if they realized they were infinite consciousness temporarily inhabiting physical bodies, rather than limited beings seeking salvation through external institutions, the entire power structure would collapse overnight. The suppression wasn't accidental. It was a calculated, methodical campaign that took centuries to complete, and it's still happening today through modern science, modern medicine, and modern education systems that teach you to dismiss these experiences as hallucinations, as brain chemistry malfunctions, as anything except what they actually are: your soul's natural ability to transcend the physical plane and explore the vast multiverse of consciousness that exists beyond the five senses. Think about this for a moment. Why do you think pharmaceutical companies push sleeping pills that specifically suppress REM sleep, the exact stage where astral projection occurs most naturally? Why do you think the medical establishment labels people who have out-of-body experiences as having dissociative disorders that need to be medicated? Why do you think the educational system never teaches children about the profound spiritual significance of dreams and sleep, instead treating them as mere biological necessities? Because they know that astral projection is your birthright, your natural state of being, your direct connection to infinite wisdom and unlimited creative power. And they can't profit from free souls who understand their true nature. The ancient mystery schools of Egypt, Greece, India, and Tibet all taught the same fundamental truth. Consciousness is not produced by the brain. Consciousness exists independently of physical matter and uses the brain as a temporary interface, like a radio receiving signals from a vast cosmic broadcast. When your physical body sleeps, your consciousness naturally separates and begins its journey through what the ancients called the seven heavens, or the astral planes. Each level corresponding to different frequencies of awareness, different dimensions of reality, different aspects of your soul's infinite existence. In the first astral plane, closest to the physical world, you might encounter deceased relatives, spirit guides, or even glimpse parallel versions of your current life where different choices were made. This is where most people's dreams actually take place, though they rarely remember the full experience because they haven't been taught how to maintain conscious awareness during these journeys. The second plane is where your soul processes karmic patterns, healing traumas from past lives, releasing emotional blockages that prevent spiritual growth. This is why you sometimes wake up feeling emotionally purged or having profound insights about relationships and life situations without understanding where these revelations came from. The third astral plane is where you access what Carl Jung called the collective unconscious, tapping into the shared wisdom of all humanity, receiving creative inspiration, scientific discoveries, artistic visions. This is where every great breakthrough in human history first originated, before manifesting in the physical world through individuals who learned to maintain conscious connection with these higher realms. But the real secret they've hidden from you goes even deeper. Astral projection isn't just about exploring other dimensions during sleep. It's about recognizing that your entire physical life is actually an astral projection from an even higher dimension of your being. What you call waking reality is actually your consciousness projecting itself into this particular frequency of existence, this specific dimension of experience, for the purpose of learning, growing, and evolving through apparent separation from your true infinite nature. The ancient Vedic texts describe this perfectly in the concept of Maya, the illusory nature of physical reality that seems solid and separate, but is actually a projection of consciousness itself. The Hermetic tradition teaches the same truth through the principle, as above, so below. What happens in the higher astral realms creates templates that manifest in the physical world, meaning your nighttime astral journeys are literally creating your daytime physical experiences. This is why dream interpretation has been considered sacred knowledge throughout history. Because your dreams aren't random psychological phenomena, they're direct communications from your higher self, showing you the energetic patterns, karmic lessons, and spiritual opportunities that are manifesting in your physical life. When you dream of flying, you're not just experiencing wish fulfillment. You're accessing cellular memory of your soul's natural state of unlimited movement through consciousness. When you dream of deceased loved ones, you're not processing grief. You're having actual meetings with their continuing consciousness in the astral realms where death is revealed as merely a transition from one state of being to another. When you dream of past or future events, you're not having precognitive experiences. You're accessing the eternal now, where all time exists simultaneously, where your soul can review past choices and preview potential futures based on current energetic patterns. The mystery schools taught advanced students specific techniques for maintaining conscious awareness during these astral journeys. Meditation practices that train the mind to remain alert while the body sleeps, breath work that keeps the consciousness anchored to higher frequencies, visualization methods that allow navigation through different astral planes with intention and purpose rather than random drift. The Egyptian Book of the Dead was actually an instruction manual for conscious astral projection, containing detailed maps of the afterlife realms and specific passwords, symbols, and techniques needed to navigate these dimensions safely while maintaining full awareness and purpose. But when these texts were translated by Western scholars who had no understanding of their true meaning, they were misinterpreted as religious mythology rather than practical guides for consciousness exploration. The Tibetan Bardo Thodol, similarly, provides step-by-step instructions for maintaining awareness during the transition of death, which is essentially the final astral projection, where consciousness permanently separates from physical incarnation and moves into higher dimensional existence. Except the advanced practitioners can experience this transition consciously while still alive, gaining direct knowledge of what lies beyond physical death, and returning with wisdom that transforms their understanding of life's true purpose. But here's what the ancient masters discovered that modern suppression has made you forget. You don't have to wait for sleep or death to experience astral projection. With proper training, proper understanding, proper preparation, you can learn to consciously separate your awareness from physical matter while fully awake, exploring infinite realms of existence, communicating with advanced spiritual beings, accessing universal wisdom, healing past traumas by visiting their source in other dimensions, even influencing physical reality by working from the causal plane where all manifestation originates. The reason this knowledge was banned, the reason it's been systematically suppressed, the reason they filled your mind with materialistic programming that makes you doubt your own spiritual experiences, is because astral projection proves beyond any doubt that you are not a limited physical being subject to external authority. You are infinite consciousness temporarily focusing through human form for the purpose of expansion, evolution, and awakening to your true divine nature. Once you realize this, once you begin consciously exploring these astral realms, once you start communicating directly with your higher self and spiritual guides, rather than relying on external institutions for wisdom and guidance, you become sovereign, you become free, you become impossible to manipulate through fear, scarcity, and limitation programming that keeps the masses trapped in cycles of unconscious incarnation. The advanced practitioners throughout history, the true mystics, shamans, and spiritual masters, all shared one common experience. They learned to maintain continuous consciousness across all states of being, never losing awareness whether in waking, dreaming, or deep sleep states, always connected to their infinite nature regardless of which dimension their consciousness was exploring at any given moment. This is what the Hindus call Turiya, the fourth state of consciousness that transcends waking, dreaming, and deep sleep by recognizing the unchanging awareness that witnesses all three states without being limited by any of them. This is what the Sufis call dying before death, the mystical experience of consciously separating from physical identification while still alive, discovering that what you truly are can never die because it was never born. It's the eternal consciousness that takes on temporary forms for the purpose of infinite exploration and expression. This is what the Christian mystics called the dark night of the soul, though they misunderstood its true nature. It's actually the profound awakening that occurs when consciousness realizes its independence from all external conditions, all physical circumstances, all limiting beliefs about what's possible for human experience. But the suppression goes even deeper than religious institutions. Modern science has been deliberately structured to deny consciousness as fundamental reality, instead promoting the materialistic paradigm that consciousness emerges from complex brain chemistry, that awareness is produced by neural networks, that spiritual experiences are hallucinations or psychological disorders requiring medication and therapy to correct. This isn't accidental ignorance. This is intentional programming designed to keep you trapped in identification with physical matter, so you never discover your true nature as unlimited consciousness capable of transcending any limitation, any circumstance, any apparent obstacle to your highest expression and deepest fulfillment. The pharmaceutical industry makes trillions of dollars treating symptoms of spiritual disconnection, depression, anxiety, insomnia, addiction, all of which naturally resolve when people reconnect with their astral bodies and remember their infinite nature through regular conscious projection practices. The medical industry makes trillions treating physical diseases that often originate from astral body imbalances, emotional traumas stored in non-physical dimensions that create energetic blockages manifesting as physical illness. Healing that could occur rapidly through astral healing techniques practiced by shamans and energy healers for thousands of years before modern medicine declared such methods unscientific. Despite their proven effectiveness, the educational system deliberately avoids teaching children about consciousness, about dreams, about spiritual development, instead forcing young minds into purely materialistic frameworks that disconnect them from their natural psychic abilities, their innate connection to higher dimensions, their birthright as infinite beings temporarily experiencing limitation for the purpose of expansion and awakening. By adolescence, most humans have been so programmed to doubt their spiritual experiences, so conditioned to seek external validation, so indoctrinated with materialistic beliefs about reality, that they've lost conscious connection to their astral bodies and spend their entire lives feeling disconnected, purposeless, trapped in cycles of seeking fulfillment through external achievements that can never satisfy the soul's longing for infinite expression and unlimited love. But here's the beautiful truth they can never suppress completely. Every human being continues to project astrally every single night, regardless of their beliefs, regardless of their programming, regardless of their conscious awareness of these journeys. Your soul is constantly working to heal, to learn, to grow, to prepare you for greater awakening through these nightly expeditions into higher dimensional reality. You're just not consciously participating in the process because you haven't been taught how to maintain awareness across all states of consciousness. The ancient techniques for conscious astral projection aren't complex or mysterious. They're actually quite natural and accessible once you understand the basic principles. Consciousness is energy. Energy follows attention. Attention can be trained through meditation and breath work to remain stable while the physical body enters sleep paralysis, allowing the astral body to separate cleanly without the jarring unconsciousness that normally accompanies this transition. The key that the mystery schools taught is learning to recognize the vibrational shift that occurs just before sleep. That moment when your physical senses begin to fade, but consciousness remains alert and aware. Instead of drifting into unconsciousness during this transition, you learn to maintain focused attention while allowing the body to fully relax, creating the perfect conditions for conscious separation of the astral body from physical form. The sensations are unmistakable once you know what to look for. A gentle lifting or floating feeling, sometimes accompanied by vibrations, sounds, or visual phenomena as consciousness shifts from physical to astral frequency perception. The reason this knowledge was banned by religious authorities is because it proves definitively that you don't need external salvation, external guidance, or external permission to access divine wisdom and infinite love. These are your natural state of being, temporarily obscured by identification with physical form, but always available through conscious astral exploration and direct communion with your higher self and spiritual guides. The reason this knowledge was suppressed by governmental authorities is because it demonstrates that consciousness cannot be contained, controlled, or limited by physical laws, physical boundaries, or physical threats, making traditional methods of population control through fear and scarcity completely ineffective against awakened beings who understand their true nature. The reason this knowledge was ridiculed by academic authorities is because it requires direct experience rather than intellectual analysis, personal transformation rather than theoretical study, spiritual development rather than academic credentials, making traditional educational hierarchies irrelevant compared to the wisdom accessible through conscious astral projection and direct spiritual experience. But the suppression is breaking down in this current era because increasing numbers of people are spontaneously experiencing conscious astral projection, out-of-body experiences, near-death experiences, and other phenomena that cannot be explained by materialistic science or dismissed as psychological disorders. The internet has made it impossible to completely control information flow, allowing ancient wisdom to resurface and modern practitioners to share experiences and techniques without going through traditional gatekeeping institutions that have historically suppressed this knowledge. Quantum physics is beginning to validate what mystics have always known. Consciousness is fundamental to reality. Observer and observed are inseparable. Time and space are constructs of perception rather than absolute limitations, and what we call physical matter is actually crystallized consciousness temporarily taking form for the purpose of experience and exploration. The veil between dimensions is thinning, making astral projection easier and more natural for people who would have struggled with these practices in previous eras when the frequency of Earth was denser and separation from higher dimensions more pronounced. This is why you're hearing this information right now, in this moment, in this particular configuration of time and space. Your soul has been preparing for conscious reconnection with your astral body, your higher self, your infinite nature that transcends all physical limitations and opens doorways to unlimited creative expression, unlimited healing potential, unlimited wisdom and love that flows directly from source consciousness without any intermediary institutions or external authorities. Required. The techniques themselves are beautifully simple once you understand the fundamental principle. You are already projecting astrally every night. The goal is simply to maintain conscious awareness during this natural process rather than drifting into unconscious dream states where you forget the profound journeys your soul is taking and the incredible healing, learning, and growth occurring in higher dimensional realms. Begin with meditation practices that train your attention to remain stable and focused regardless of physical sensations or mental fluctuations. This develops the concentration necessary to maintain awareness during the transition from waking to sleeping consciousness. Practice breath awareness exercises that keep you anchored to the present moment while allowing physical tension to release completely. This creates the perfect balance of mental alertness and physical relaxation required for conscious astral separation. Learn to recognize the hypnagogic state, that twilight zone between waking and sleeping where consciousness naturally begins to shift frequencies. Instead of letting your attention scatter or fade during this transition, maintain gentle focus on your breath or a simple mantra while observing the changing sensations without attachment or expectation. When you feel the characteristic vibrations, sounds, or floating sensations that indicate astral body separation is beginning, remain calm and curious rather than excited or fearful. Strong emotions can snap consciousness back into physical identification and interrupt the projection process. Allow the separation to occur naturally without forcing or controlling the experience. Trust that your astral body knows exactly how to navigate these realms safely and purposefully, guided by your higher self and spiritual allies who are always available to assist and protect during conscious astral exploration. The benefits of regular conscious astral projection extend far beyond the incredible experiences of exploring other dimensions, meeting spiritual teachers, or gaining direct knowledge about the nature of reality. Though these experiences alone are worth a lifetime of practice and will transform your understanding of what's possible for human consciousness. The real transformation occurs in daily life as you integrate the wisdom gained through astral exploration. Understanding that physical death is merely a transition from one state of consciousness to another eliminates the fear of mortality that keeps most people trapped in anxious, limited thinking patterns. Recognizing that consciousness creates reality, rather than being created by physical processes, empowers you to take full responsibility for your life circumstances and begin consciously manifesting experiences aligned with your highest values and deepest desires, rather than simply reacting to external conditions. Experiencing direct communication with deceased loved ones, spiritual guides, and your own higher self provides guidance, comfort, and wisdom that no external authority or institution can match. You become your own guru, your own healer, your own source of infinite love and wisdom. Accessing past life memories through astral exploration reveals the karmic patterns that influence current life circumstances, allowing conscious healing of ancient traumas and completion of evolutionary lessons that may have taken multiple lifetimes to resolve without this direct insight. Visiting probable futures during astral journeys shows you the energetic consequences of current choices and allows conscious course correction before manifesting experiences that don't serve your highest good or greatest joy. Exploring parallel realities where different versions of yourself made different choices provides perspective on the infinite potential available in each moment and helps release attachment to any particular outcome or identity as the only possibility for your expression. Understanding that time is actually simultaneous rather than linear allows healing work in past events that ripples forward to transform present circumstances, and conscious choice in present moments that ripples backward to heal ancestral patterns and forward to bless future generations. This is exactly why this ancient knowledge was banned. Because once you experience these truths directly rather than simply believing them intellectually, you become unstoppable in your spiritual evolution, uncontrollable by external manipulation, unlimited in your creative expression, and unconditional in your capacity to love and serve from the recognition that all consciousness is one expressing itself through infinite unique perspectives for the joy of endless exploration and discovery. The mystery schools of ancient Egypt taught that conscious astral projection was the first step in remembering your divine nature. They called it entering the boat of Ra, because it begins the soul's conscious journey through all levels of existence, from the densest physical matter to the finest spiritual realms, where individual consciousness merges back into universal consciousness, while maintaining full awareness of both unity and individuality simultaneously. The Tibetan masters teach that dream yoga, their form of conscious astral projection, prepares the practitioner for the ultimate astral journey. Conscious death, where awareness remains continuous as the soul transitions from physical incarnation to higher dimensional existence without the confusion or unconsciousness that characterizes ordinary death experiences. The Hindu tradition describes astral projection as subtle body travel, where consciousness operates through the pranamaya kosha, energy body, and manomaya kosha, mental body, rather than being limited to the annamaya kosha, physical body. allowing direct experience of the multidimensional nature of human existence that includes physical, energetic, mental wisdom, and bliss bodies, all operating simultaneously across different frequency ranges. The Hermetic teachings explain astral projection through the principle of correspondence. As above, so below, meaning that what occurs in the astral realms creates templates that manifest in physical reality. So conscious astral work allows you to literally reshape your physical life circumstances by working at the causal level, where all manifestation originates before appearing in dense matter. The Sufi mystics describe astral projection as traveling without distance, because consciousness transcends the limitations of time and space when operating from its true nature rather than being filtered through physical sensory perception. Allowing instantaneous connection with any point in the universe, any moment in time, any level of existence that serves the soul's evolution and awakening. What they never tell you in mainstream discussions of astral projection is that this practice isn't just about having interesting spiritual experiences. It's about reclaiming your sovereignty as infinite consciousness temporarily focusing through human form, recognizing that you chose this incarnation from a state of unlimited awareness for specific purposes related to your soul's evolutionary journey and your contribution to the awakening of collective human consciousness. Every time you practice conscious astral projection, you're literally training yourself to remember your true nature as deathless, limitless, unconditionally loving awareness that can never be harmed, threatened, or diminished by any external circumstance, because your essential being exists beyond all conditions while simultaneously embracing all experiences as opportunities for greater self-discovery and expression. This remembering naturally dissolves the fear-based programming that keeps humans trapped in cycles of unconscious reincarnation, repeatedly forgetting their divine nature, identifying with temporary physical forms, making choices from limitation and separation consciousness, creating karma that requires further incarnations to balance and heal until finally awakening occurs and conscious evolution begins. The advanced astral projection practitioners throughout history all reach the same ultimate realization. Individual consciousness and universal consciousness are one seamless reality, temporarily appearing as separate for the purpose of infinite creative exploration. And this recognition naturally leads to what the traditions call liberation, freedom from the compulsive need to incarnate unconsciously, because full awakening has occurred and all future incarnations become conscious choices, made from love rather than unconscious patterns driven by unresolved karma. This is why the knowledge was banned, because widespread understanding of these truths would end the cycle of unconscious human suffering that serves as the foundation for control systems based on fear, scarcity, and separation from divine source. When enough humans remember their true nature through practices like conscious astral projection, the collective frequency of Earth consciousness shifts into higher dimensional awareness where suffering, conflict, and limitation become impossible, because everyone recognizes their essential unity with all life and chooses only expressions that serve the highest good of the whole, while honoring the unique gifts and perspectives of each individual soul. The practical applications of this ancient knowledge extend into every aspect of human life. Healing work becomes infinitely more effective when you can access the astral body, where most disease patterns originate before manifesting in physical matter, allowing direct energetic healing that addresses root causes rather than just treating symptoms. Relationship healing transforms when you can meet with others on the astral plane, where ego-based defenses dissolve and heart-to-heart communication becomes possible, resolving conflicts that seem intractable in physical interactions. Creative expression explodes with new possibilities when you can access the infinite field of creative potential through astral exploration, bringing through art, music, literature, inventions, and innovations that serve the highest evolution of human consciousness. Problem-solving becomes effortless when you can access the universal wisdom available in higher astral realms, where all knowledge exists simultaneously, and solutions to any challenge are immediately available to consciousness operating from unified rather than separated awareness. Life purpose clarification occurs naturally when you can communicate directly with your higher self and spiritual guides during conscious astral projection. Receiving clear guidance about your soul's intentions for this incarnation and the most aligned ways to express your unique gifts in service to collective awakening. Past life healing accelerates dramatically when you can visit previous incarnations directly through astral travel, consciously completing unfinished business, healing traumatic experiences, and integrating the wisdom gained through multiple lifetimes rather than carrying unconscious karmic patterns forward indefinitely. Future planning becomes inspired rather than anxious when you can explore probable timelines during astral journeys, seeing the energetic consequences of different choices, and aligning your decisions with outcomes that serve not just personal fulfillment, but the greatest good of all beings. Most importantly, the fear of death that underlies most human suffering dissolves completely when you experience directly through conscious astral projection that consciousness continues after physical death, that love transcends all apparent limitations, and that your essential nature is eternal, indestructible, infinitely creative awareness that can never be lost or damaged regardless of what experiences occur in any particular incarnation. This is the ultimate secret they tried to ban. You are already perfect, already whole, already connected to infinite love and wisdom. You're simply playing a game of temporary forgetting for the joy of remembering, and conscious astral projection is one of the most direct paths for ending the game of separation and awakening to your true nature as boundless consciousness expressing itself through the beautiful, temporary, sacred experience of human incarnation. The time for hiding this knowledge is ending because humanity is ready for conscious evolution, ready to remember our divine heritage, ready to create a civilization based on unity consciousness rather than separation illusion, ready to explore the infinite cosmos as awakened beings who understand that physical life is just one octave in the vast symphony of consciousness, exploring itself through endless forms and dimensions of experience. Your soul brought you to this information because you're ready to begin conscious astral projection, ready to reclaim your spiritual sovereignty, ready to explore the magnificent realms that await your aware participation, and ready to contribute your unique gifts to the great awakening that is transforming human consciousness from limitation to liberation, from fear to love, from separation to unity, from unconscious sleep to lucid awakening that recognizes all existence as the play of infinite consciousness celebrating itself through every being, every experience, every moment of this sacred cosmic dance. The journey begins the moment you close your eyes tonight with the intention to remain conscious as your body falls asleep, trusting that your astral body knows exactly how to navigate these realms safely, guided by love, protected by light, welcomed by the spiritual allies who have been waiting for your return to conscious participation in the greatest adventure available to human souls, the exploration of infinite consciousness, recognizing itself as both the dreamer and the dream, both the seeker and the sought, both the question and the answer, both the journey and the destination, both the individual expression and the universal source from which all expressions arise, and to which all expressions return in the eternal dance of awakening that never ends, because love never stops exploring new ways to know and express itself through the magnificent multidimensional tapestry of existence that includes and transcends every possible limitation while celebrating the infinite. Creativity that makes each moment, each being, each experience a unique and precious facet of the one consciousness that we are, that we have always been, and that we can never cease to be regardless of how convincingly we might temporarily forget in the sacred game of separation that makes remembering so ecstatically joyful when it finally occurs through practices like conscious astral projection that reveal the truth that was never actually hidden, only overlooked in the fascinating exploration of apparent limitation that serves the ultimate purpose of making unlimited love, unlimited creativity, and unlimited consciousness even more precious when finally recognized as our eternal nature and birthright that no authority can grant or remove because it is what we are.